We are on day 2 of breaking down some exercises for the song American Girl by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Day 2 on these exercises, really, a lot of this is just me working on some rudiments and doing it in a format that's easy for me to like send out a loop video down the road for a student or even just put it up on YouTube, which we will put it up on YouTube. If you guys want to support the channel, like, comment, subscribe, all that really good stuff. And then on top of that, if you're looking for sheet music, if you're a teacher and you want resources, if you're a private student working on your own, we have a ton of resources on our website, musicbythemesserspro.com, subscription-based service, you know, if you want to help support the channel, that we would greatly appreciate that. All right, so we're just going to jump in and spend a lot more time just playing today. Probably try to aim to get an hour of this in. I'm not going to do too much explaining, but knowing me, I will, like, start explaining as I keep going. It's kind of the teacher a little bit of me. Exercise 1. I felt like I did good on the 60s tempo or 55 tempos yesterday, but I need to warm up on the 55s to film the 70 today. So chances are I'll start doing that and feel good about it and then just want to record anyway. So the exercise 1 idea is just kind of warm up on this right now. It's easy for me at a slow tempo. It's just that combination back and forth. So when you see me spend a ridiculous amount of time on something and I'm not chatting, it's because I'm just trying to zone in on like what my leg and hand are doing and try to get them to communicate together. So I'm just going to shut my brain off and really just practice for a bit, jump in and do some tracking on it, listen back and kind of give myself feedback. Try to stop myself from talking to the camera the whole entire time, unless you guys want to chat or ask some questions about drums or even Tom Petty. I know some. About Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Not enough, probably. So let's listen to 55. 2E and 3 and 4 and a 2E and. So let's warm up at that. And a 2E and 3 and 4. 1 and a 2E and. And a 2E and 3 and a. All right, a couple more. Shit. 1 and a 2E and. There we go. Yesterday as I was playing this, like I'd often end up going ba-da, ba-da, ba-da instead of ba-da, ba-da. Like just really delaying that 16th note, which those ideas get stuck in your head and then you gotta go back to 1 and the 2E and 3. All right, let's try to do a couple with the metronome. Then we'll jump into tracking. And a 2E and 3 and a 4E and. And a 2E and 3 and a 4E and. So you gotta knock yesterday's rust off a minute. So we'll just have to do a couple of these. 1 and a 2E and 3 and a 4E and. So let's talk about what I'm mixing up. Just because of my lack of rhythm skills, it's keeping this 1 and a 2 and 3, that right hand movement going the whole time. It's just difficult for me. I'm not a good enough drummer at this. You know, getting your right foot in your right hand to just coordinate the right way. It's kind of going in and out. And a 2E and 3 and a. So, all right, try to lock in on some good technique while I'm doing that too. Just very much the push pull. You see, my push pull gets distracted when I put that kick in. Best thing you can do is do it by itself, do it with the kick. All right. pretty bad throughout. Started to lock in a little bit near the end. I was about to do exercise number 2. Same kind of issues. Better though. Better to the closer to the idea. It takes me a second to pull down to this 8th notes. Felt better. So what you guys are really watching is just the amount of work it takes me to film these videos. And I'm saying that in a way as like a normal drummer probably be way better at doing these way quicker. I taught drums for quite a few years. I just need to work on it. And that's what we're doing right now. We're working on it. I recommend everyone record yourself, listen back. It's some of the most it's the quickest way to learn. It's like getting that feedback from a teacher is no different than listening to this with that click and going, ooh, ooh. So right now I know there's something going on in my rhythm that I let my kick delay. So we're going to spend some time on the 55, and we'll probably do like 3 or 4 more takes, and then move on to 1, 2, 3, 4, see if we can get them, then come back. Kind of know that your first little bit is kind of a warm-up. See, I was flammed. Late on that kick. 1 and a 2 E and 3 and a. So again, I kind of already knew, right? You could hear that I knew. Hopefully you guys knew as well. This is good ear training exercise. I can keep the rhythm when I'm going 1 and a 2 E and 3. A little bit slower. And a 2 E and 3 and my leg just doesn't trust when to go, and some of that's technique, some of it's just lack of skill. So, all right, let's film. We're already filming. We're filming all of this. Let's do 3 more. Not caring about the quality, knowing we're going to move on right after that. Just try to get in line of what it needs to sound like. We'll come back and do it. And 3 and 4 and 1. Hey, thanks, Sarah. So there were parts of that one that was pretty much in time. Parts of that were pretty much in time. And I think what's interesting about this is like when I was 15, 16, I'm 41, so quite a few years ago, we didn't have DAWs like this, right? I'm not dating myself too. Well, we did actually. We did. 16 and 17, I was in my first band. I never interacted with it. It was the typical, the lead guitarist kind of led everything, and he was always in this, and he was always doing the tracking. But through tracking, you get really, really good. You're going to struggle like I am a little bit. Hopefully you don't struggle as much. But getting this feedback is such key. And I don't know, seeing how this is all done and built, I think is an interesting aspect as well. And we'll move from exercises to full songs and all that good stuff. All right. I felt like there was some good stuff in here. like that. Then I get off. And then I think these last one maybe. Nope. So really just that first measure. So out of 4 measures, I got 1 point. Make it a game. All right, we'll do 2 more. This is also what I try to replicate when I'm teaching a lesson to a student. Like, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to hear where we're at. We're going to make adjustments. We're going to do this again. You do enough until you don't get sick of doing it. I could do this all day. Someday I'm going to have to. Do it to a point. Do it to a point where you feel like, hey, like I'm close to a breakthrough. And if you don't get that breakthrough, move to exercise number 2. Work on that over and over again. So, all right. We're going to do 2 takes. We're going to do 1 hi-hat. And 3 and 4 and... Hear how much I have to slow down. And 2 and 3 and... We'll come back to that one because the first two measures I think were tight. First 2 of that, I might have been locked in the best I've ever done in my entire life. So just, this shouldn't be that much of a yay experiment, but listen to how tight that downbeat is. That's what I want down the road for all of my tracking all the time, to be taught. And then it gets sloppy. That's okay. The third measure was the sloppiest by far, but that's usable. Let's listen to this one before that I thought might be good too. So not as good at the beginning. Nope. Here's the idea that I love too. It's like spending probably the next year of my life practicing all these exercises on different instruments, kind of coming up with these as I go. Great handout sheets for students. I do it all the time. I like the linear breakdown that we get from like, hey, here's this idea of the beat. Here's a simplified version of it. Here's a rudiment that would go inside of it. And then that rudiment becomes a part of your playing. Always what I like to do. But it's going to be, for me, like a year of doing these rudiments and getting stuff tighter and tighter and carrying over. And I forgot my original point. So we'll move on. But I thought that was good. Exercise number 2. It is more simplistic in a ways, but it's good to teach the kick drum pattern first so you kind of get the idea of what we're building to. Exercise 2 is just kind of getting that 1 and 2 and 3 and... And then if anyone's wondering, like, what does the actual beat look like and why are you making me learn it like this? We're kind of really doubling up this first half of this drum beat more than anything else. We're ignoring this second half. We'll work on it at slow tempos, but really we're just trying to get good at this kick drum pattern, which shows up in a lot of songs. It's a good pattern. Okay. Exercise 2, let's hear tempo. And 3 and... and 2 and 3 and... trying to find the sweet spot. I just tuned my snare, and there's like only one sweet spot right now where it doesn't rattle. So got some more tuning to do. So the big thing on this one is just for me to go slow, which you can probably hear the amount of caffeine I have in my system right now. So we'll do the best we can. My last bit of rambling for a bit. What I like about doing something that's simpler than you're ever going to have to do and going so slow, I'm really working on just getting a good, probably seems ridiculous that I care about this, just a good natural bounce. That natural bounce is really going to help us when we get up to full speed. So just simplify it, exercise. Make sure you can do it well. Make sure you can add something into it. Obviously, play in time, which that was close. But then when you're getting the groove and just really trying to work on it, try to add in a piece of technique that's maybe new or maybe you don't, usually utilize. But for me, now I'm of course not doing it. Oh, there it is. It's just getting a nice natural bounce to the point where I was able to then forget what my foot and my other hand was doing. Now, I left that after like probably a measure of it, but it's, I would practice on the pad. I don't do enough of that. We need more members at musicbythemeasurespro.com, then I have more time to practice. And I'll do pad practice. I'm looking forward to that. I just thought about it today. Just don't really have the time. Okay, anyway. I said less rambling and talking, but no, never hit the sweet spot of the snare, but that's okay. Do one more just to have it in the bag. Definitely thought the one before was better. We'll listen back just for fun. So pretty good. Little flammy on that one beat. Could be tighter right here, but and the snare could sound better. But other than those 7 things, I'm pretty happy with that. All right, exercise 3. So here's where we're going to start pulling that kick drum pattern into the actual beat. So we got, and again, this is going to show my flaws in my playing. And very quickly make it into a different song. All right, let's hear 50 because I was already 55 because I was already rushing it. 2 and 3 and a 4 and 1 and a 2 and all right. 2 and 3 and a 4. So not that great. Lack of groove. You could also argue just I'm not in time. So, not a great approach. I started just getting probably one thinking like, shit, this isn't, I don't have this at this tempo. I'm rushing a little bit and playing sloppy. And I'm not ready to think about my technique in this one. I just need to play it and get that rhythm down. Very quickly, the beat left me. So, yeah, just got to kind of tune stuff out and do it. Okay, near the end was way better. If I can get that groove. Two and so good from the start. But I got into a bad habit. So I want to hear this though, because what I'm hearing is just really taut 16th notes. And my guys, if you can't do it at 55, don't go to 70, which I'm going to do in a minute. That doesn't make a ton of sense. I will go to 70 to challenge myself, to push myself to get to a better tempo, higher tempo. Otherwise, my whole life I would have spent trying to get 55 into a good groove. So you need to go there, but like, I don't know, find a tempo that's comfortable to practice, that you're making less mistakes, I guess would probably be the better way to wrap up what I was trying to say. Three and a 4 E and 1 and a 2. Yeah, no, sloppy. 1 and a 2 E. 1 and a 2 and. Let's listen to that again. We'll listen to the last two. And 1 and a 2 E and. See? 1 and a 2. And then it got worse. I knew it was getting worse. I thought it was a little bit better than the beginning, though. Good sign when the click is not in time. So this isn't bad. That was worse. Sloppy. Okay. And the big thing that I need to work on, we all probably need to work on, is consistency. The fact that I'm struggling to play a measure of the song, a simplified version of it. I'm just not ready to play the entire song, right? I just need to work on this technique. All right, let's do 2 more on 3. Hopefully get something. If not, this is just going to be a really good warm-up. Here's what happens quite a bit when I film these. I'll struggle on all these tempos. Even on day 2, I'll struggle on these tempos. Usually it's a little bit better than this. I'll go to the faster tempo, work on that for a bit. Maybe sometimes they connect. They really do. Sometimes faster tempos, you can, I don't know, just manipulate your way through that. But it's working on those faster tempos, going back down to the slow, and then putting it all back together. So it's that back and forth system that works. So, but you got to own the first tempo. You got to spend enough time on it that you're like, okay, I put my dues in. So let's do a hi-hat one. One and a 2 and 3. Okay, we'll wait till it comes back around. Two and 3 and a 4 and 1 and a 2 and. So I'm not stopping because. I'm stopping. I gotta check this feed in a minute. Because I was getting it. You know, I want to get that flow. I felt good about how my leg was feeling. You know, I was using a technique that I felt was proper. I don't know, a proper technique. Now we just have to start in time and be consistent. So crap, there's one kick drum that was sloppy. And overall, it's just not there yet, but that's okay. So I felt like the first two measures were good. Let's listen to that, see if I'm lying to myself. And then we'll listen to the take before it and see if there's something in there that's good enough. That last one got a little moved. So, yeah, and then it got worse. But the first two measures were there. Part of this is no different from, in my mind, melodic ear training. This is rhythmic ear training. Having to listen back, evaluate your playing, and be like, is that good? Is that good? Was that bad? All right, we're going to move to number 4. You might ask yourself, my guy, you don't have number 3 done. Yeah, I know. Okay. So tempo. So the exercise 4 is 1 and so you got to put more of it together, right? 1 and 2. Oh, I wasn't even playing that right. 1 and 2 E and 3 and So really, if I can line up those 16th notes on my kick, which happens every once in a while, just lack of consistency throughout. That's how I'm going to unlock this. And again, focus on the slow tempos. You might take 3 or 4 days on the slow tempos. You guys might get sick of watching that after 3 or 4 days. I might get sick of filming it. So some good stuff that's happening in my foot, not in my playing though. If that makes any sense. All right, we're going to listen to the last 2, and then we're just going to move on to the actual beat. I feel like synapses are firing, neurons are moving, some bullshit like that. It's coming. Like this I don't mind. It just... sloppy. It's a third measure. Third measure was terrible, but you're starting to hear how it's supposed to lock in. Not locked in. So we don't need to listen to more of that one. All right, beat of the actual song. Gets used quite a bit throughout the entire song. And then a slight variation. All right, so we got 1. I have to count and think again. So 1, 1. So the snare on the end is what's throwing my brain off, right? Where I was going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and What I love is you work on those exercises, this idea comes throughout. It builds to it. Your foot starts to know, like, hey, I know what you want. I know what you want me to do and win. In some ways, like, the beat's almost easier than the exercises because you have that little bit of a recouping, which I like to rush that. I like to rush everything. So let's listen to the track. 2E and 3 and 1 and a 2E and. It's going to do exercise number 3. One and a 2E and 3 and. So not bad for me. Could just be a little tighter. Let's record. We'll just jump in. Okay, that'll be usable in a second. The idea is there. It's gonna be more consistent. I thought the last 2 measures were probably it. If I could do 4 in a row. Okay, good. Click in. So just downhill, but that's okay. We'll do one more. So we don't need to do more. It's not going to get any better right now. I'm rushing into 3, and then, or I'm just hearing the 16th notes, and my brain thinks the song's faster than it is. So when the 4 comes, I'm almost always missing that. That one's not terrible. A little flammy on the 4. You just hear I'm fighting to get back into time. The big thing with this as well is if I'm rushing this and can't hear the groove at 55. Wait, no, say this a different way. I can hear the groove and I can hear my mistakes very clear. As we go up to faster tempos, it's harder to make out like, oh, okay, it should be on that beat. Okay, yeah. You know, you're really just trying to grow a lot of different things at once. Or that's what I'm trying to do. I don't know what you guys are doing. You guys are chilling on a Tuesday. All right, so faster tempo. Go back to exercise number 1. We'll see what happens. You know, we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, good or bad, and then if we have enough energy and fortitude, we'll go back to the slower tempos and try to tighten this up. We'll find out. We'll find out what's going to happen. Don't know yet. Let's get that faster tempo in my brain. 3 and 1 into 2E and 3. Just got to keep those 16th notes tight. So again, like already without tracking it, that felt pretty good, like relaxed and whatnot. I don't know. So it could be an evaluation of like, hey, 70 is easier for me to play, but there's still ownership of like going back to 55 and being able to play that tight or tight enough for this video. Not this video, but the exercise video that I'll release. This video, I obviously have take 37 million. Doesn't matter how tight I am yet. That I was pretty happy with. Let's do one more though. I heard, let's listen back to the first one. I heard the hi-hat being off, and that was enough to be like, my guy, what are you're not playing that right. Nice. Yeah, I'm very happy with that. So yeah, whatever it is, whether it be tempo or whatnot, there's still like, hey, great, you can do it at 70. You need to be able to understand it at 55. I clearly don't. I want to teach my body how to do that, my brain, everything together. Shoot, I thought about something. I forgot about it already. I guess let's listen again, and maybe it'll come back to me. Something about the 16th notes being tight. Slipping a little bit there, but not bad. 3 into 4E and 1 into 2E and. That's what I love about exercises. I love teaching through songs because it gets students excited. I love, breaking this down and making it simple and be like, if we try it this way, we learn something different. All right, exercise number 2. See if all of these remain easy at this tempo. I'm guessing they won't. We'll find out. 1 and 2 and. Just jump in and do some. So I stopped paying attention. My brain. I stopped paying attention on like the last 2 measures because I was annoyed with my snare, but like I kind of shut my brain off and was able to jump to that. That felt pretty good. So let's do it. I think other than beat 1, I liked it. I mean, like, just felt very straight. A little flammy there, but you could hear, and that's like good stuff to learn, right? Like even for clearly for myself, but even for you guys, like my snare's not completely in tune, but it has a little bit of a sweet spot right now. I gotta keep on tuning this sweet spot bigger. But as I was playing, I got a little distracted and started moving the snare around, and you can hear the different tones. This is what's missing in modern music because, we're doing drum replacements and everything. Nothing wrong with that. Like, you get high quality right away, but, like, there's something awesome about the room. I think I moved the snare. Yeah. And then I try to find it again. That's good enough for an exercise. Yeah, so far all these tempos are working pretty nice. I'm sure 3 is gonna suck though. All right, so now we got 3 1 1. So much so that my brain's like, how do you play this? 1 and a 2 and 3 and a 4. Let's hear that tempo. 2, 3. So faster than I was thinking. 1 and a 2 and 3 and a 4 and 1 and a. I'm trying to play exercise 4. And 2 and 1. 1 and a 2 and 3 and a 1 and a 2. Just got tighten that up. 3 and a 4 and 1 and a 2 and. Okay, let's record them. I'm starting to get nitpicky with my own hands, and probably just need to do it 3 or 4 takes and see how it is. What's fun, because of 2 days of practice on this now, I'm actually like moving the kick around as I'm playing and like getting it more in time. And then miss my cue. Good, except for the first measure was crap. Two and 3 and a 4. They were all becoming crap. I'm ignoring the snare because I can't put that all together. Yeah, could also tune my snare again. So I was feeling good. Like that's the idea. But it wasn't great throughout. It's good for me. So sloppy on the last 2 measures, but other than that, I'm actually pretty happy. So we'll move on. We'll jump down to exercise 4. I mean, not to just like talk and ramble, but like this in my mind is the closest idea where I try to get students to be like, do you understand how to practice? Walk me through your steps. This is practice. You don't need to do 4 hours of this a day. You'd burn out and like crash. But an hour, 2 hours of really structured, like, all right, how am I doing? Okay, listen back, feedback. Okay, well, okay, I got to fix this up. Okay, I need a break. That kind of stuff. Like, that's how you get good. This is what practice should look like. Now, if I do this for a year, these videos won't be for part 17, right? There's a lot of skill set that will just like keep on layering up. Right now, I'm skill set 1.2. All right. Number 4. So we got our 1 and a 2 E and 3 and a. Let's hear tempo because I already played it faster. 2 E and oh, it's pretty close. Bum ba da 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 1 and a 2 E and. All right, let's just jump in. So first measure was good. And then I thought about thinking, I'd love to listen back to it, but we don't need to. 2 E and 3 and 4 and. No, no. There's some good stuff in there. We're gonna do one more and then we'll move on. So that was actually sounding really good. And then I thought, and it made me stumble. So yeah, you started fumbling quicker than I thought. All right, one more, just one more, and then we'll move on. So it's just starting to get sloppy. I'm trying to put too many things together. So we can move on. Let's know when to call it. And that really wasn't that many on that one, but I kind of like, I don't know, sensed it. I can tell like via where I'm like focus wise, the best thing we do is do beat a couple times, knowing we're not going to get it. We're not going to get it today. Just practicing the same thing over and over again. It's okay to do. Telling myself and telling you. And then I feel like we're just going to push tempos and do the faster tempo and be sloppy on 4 or 5 of those faster tempos and just be like, hey, tomorrow we start again. So we got one, and it's here 80 or 70, 2E and 3 and 4 and 1 and a 2E and. Probably a little rushed on 4. We'll do it with metronome. I gotta clean myself up. Start like getting into the groove and let's make sure we're doing it right. About to play one of the exercises. Struggling here. All right, what we're going to do. All right, we got to persevere. We got to do 2, and even if I fall off the rails, fall off the bike, we'll come back on. I said we're going to do 2, 3, and 4 and 1 and a 2. Good. I'm glad we did 2. That wasn't great. Some good things in there, though. Even though I rushed the 4 on that one, I'd be I'd be happy with that if I could do that 4 times in a row. That was good. Then I start flammy. And you heard multiple hi-hats out of time. But that's the stuff that I'm starting to hear as I'm playing and trying to not get distracted with that and throw myself off. All right, so these faster tempos are not going to be pretty, but this is kind of doing your sprints at your end of your workout. I think this is 90. Let's do 85. Feel way more confident about not 90. It looks like 85. It might be 86. It's far away from me. Okay. So we're just gonna let's hear the tempo. I feel like we're gonna do 4 or 5 times on these. I'm gonna try not to like analyze every single time I stop. Sometimes it's just play at 4, don't give a shit after that. Play at 4, knowing that these are just extra credit right now at this tempo for me. So like even just ba ba da 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 ba da da, 1 and a 2e and 3 and so a little bit slower than that. 1 and a 2e and 3 and 4 and 1 and a 2e and 3. Right now, my brain doesn't even comprehend, like, you're going to put those kicks in. So 1 into 2e and 3 into 4e and 1 into da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Definitely, though, playing this at the end of my session is going to make it easier tomorrow to go back to 70 BPM, or even tonight, but I don't think I'll have the wherewithal to come back tonight. But going back tomorrow at those slower tempos, which I get, that's you're taking 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. But it's kind of an honest assessment of where you're at, where I'm at with my playing. It's like, I know I need to go back. I need to go back to the starting zone and clean that stuff up. Every week or every day that you do that, though, the cleanup is less. The time is less. It's putting that effort in. We would all, including me, like to be really good without a lot of effort. Some people have a natural inclination to put in less effort than I, and kudos for you. All right, let's record. We'll do a couple records and just see where we're at. 2e and 3 and okay. Knowing that I'm uncomfortable, right? Like that's a tempo that's I'm not only uncomfortable like doing this on camera, but uncomfortable like that's a fast tempo for me. I don't understand it. The best thing for me to do, or somebody you're tackling a new tempo, or a new idea at a faster tempo. Every time I screw up, I'm just going to go back to 1 into 2e and 3 into 4 and 1 into 2e and 3 into 4 and 1. And then my brain just shuts off. But you have to like show your brain, hey, this is the rhythm that I want you to use. Now overlay that in that new idea with the kick drums in there. Go back to this rhythm. Go back to that. Back and forth. Right now, I struggle to hear that separation. 1 into... Okay, so that trick is one. A secondary trick. Start at this slow tempo. Let's hear what 80 is again. 85. 1 and a 2e. And so just fast. 1 and a 2e. Okay, so now, trick 2. And I'm trying to coaching myself on these. I use them with students all the time. But it's different when you're like, hey, Luke, which is my name. Do this. Do this way. Now do it this way. Start at a tempo that you know. 1 into 2e and 3 into. Now, if I was capable of the idea, I would start speeding that tempo up, but I'm falling off the rails already. So we're going to do 2. We're going to do 2 takes. It's punishment enough. And gotta take my own advice. This one doesn't count as a take. This will be the first take. 1 and a 2e and 3 and a 4 and 1 and a 2e and 3 and a 4 and. So I don't want to do another take because I just heard how about that one and 2, but we're gonna do 1. That counts. That counts as a take. All right, let's delete that because Logic isn't liking it, and not like there was anything good in there. Let's do 2, 3, 4 and beat at this speed, knowing that we're probably gonna have similar results, but at least we're getting them into our brain. All right, so exercise 2 at 85. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. So that's not hard for me. But the more that you can own that at the faster tempos, it's going to help your brain go, okay, I understand this bass rhythm. then you would ideally add the extra kick in. That's not happening yet for me. All right. Meh. So gotta try to hit the hi-hat the entire time. Best one so far. Little sloppy on some downbeats. Other than a crap beginning. Another thing I like about this practice technique, I do this with students a lot, working on just click in, play. Click in, play. Because guess what? In the song, we're going to have to do the same thing, or you're going to have to work on pauses and those hesitations. Just getting good at that. And you could hear, actually, let's listen to the last one. It's a pretty good take, except for my first measure, I was adjusting, I was calibrating to the rhythm. You got to use your click in for that. So not bad after that first measure. A little flammy. Okay. It's kind of interesting going in on something where you're like, I know these aren't going to be good, but we need to do these so we can get to getting good. Embrace the suck is the terminology. So exercise 3, bros. This is going to be bros, girls, anybody who's watching. This is going to be the same exact thing. It's going to be tough for me to go 1 and I might have lied. It might be easy for me. We'll find out. Couldn't hear it. 2 and 3 and a 4 and 1. So sloppy. All right, I might be done with the amount of embarrassment I can take today. I guess we're gonna do 2 more. We gotta end it. We said we're gonna do it. It's not gonna be good, guys. I'm gonna do the same thing that I did on number 1, exercise number 1 in this tempo. Try to play it. Try to get this assimilation of it. 1 and it. Hearing that and putting that E or is it in exactly the right spot. So 1, 2, or 1, so it's enda. So 1 and a 2 and 3 and a 4 and 1 and a 2. Well, 1 and a 2 and 3. If I can't do that, probably why I'm struggling on the beat. So this is kind of a good thing to practice too. I don't think we're going to spend it. I would have to make it exercise number 5. I don't know if I'm committed to doing that right now. 1 and a 2 and 3 and a 4 and. It's just for fun. Try this as number 4. So it'd be 1 and a 2. Oh yeah. 1 and a 2 E and 3 and a 4 E and. we're going to have to add that in. I like that a lot. It's kind of nice because you're removing those eighth notes. Hopefully when we bring those eighth notes back in, it makes it easier for us to play. It may or may not. But I do like this idea of, just another avenue to go down of like, hey, how do we develop this technique? Or how do we kind of lock in with that snare kick sound? If you can get your brain to understand one and those snares are nicely surrounded by those kick drums, and it just makes sense in your brain. One and Now, I don't know if I can actually apply that to... I think we're on 3 yet. I don't know. I can't see. Yeah, we're on 3 yet. So let's do a couple of 3. We'll just try to like power through this. Let's do 2. It's gonna suck. It's a good attitude to have. And a 2 and 3. See, told you. Getting the idea of it though. Start playing the other one. 3 and a 4 and 1 and a 2 and. Do one more. It's not going to be good. Don't even count that as 1. If I could, I'd delete that from the internet. We're going to try 4 the exact same way. You might ask me why, just to get the exercise at this tempo in our brain. It's like the try to fail kind of scenario. 1 and a 2 and 3 and a 4 and 1 and a 2 and. See if I can do that. One and a. So you heard it here. I can't play that at all. But one more take through stumbling, and then we'll feel good about ourselves for doing it. 1, 2. Gotta quit. Got to not quit. Now we can quit. We'll call that good enough. That kind of counted. All right. Let's see. Beat might happen. Might not happen at all. Nice thing is at 85, we're only 30 BPM away from full speed. That's a good or bad thing. You guys can tell me. Just processing. 1 and a 2 and 3 and 4 and. Trying to keep that E, or I don't know if it's the E or the that's getting me more. Both. Just track. So you can tell I don't even understand how to do it at that tempo. So, you heard it happen on accident, and I was like, damn, yeah. But I wasn't able to maintain it. Let's listen. Let's see if it was actually halfway decent. No. Oh. So one measure was almost close to being passable. Let's listen again. So other than that hi-hat being out of time on that second measure. Okay, guys, you can clearly tell I have a lot of work to do. I'm going to be doing this song probably for the next week, 4th of July, American Girl. Makes a lot of sense in that capacity. Thanks for checking out the channel. Like, comment, subscribe, support us. If you guys are looking for sheet music, we have tons of resources on our website, musicbythemeasurespro.com, and I will talk to you all soon. Guess I can talk right now, too, because this is an end.